Okay, this is a video to show kind of an overview of how we do assessment and to kind of show you what some of the different steps will look like when you do them. So assessment is something we do so the department can look and see are our students learning what we need them to be learning. So it's different than grading. So we assess for portfolio and for final research papers in Comp 1, Comp 2, and Comp 1 with review. So when I do assessment, I grade the papers, the students get their grade, but then I also generate the assessment information and send that on to Jonathan. So just to keep in mind for this semester, December 14th is the day that grades have to be turned in for all of our classes. December 22nd is the deadline for getting the assessment information to Jonathan. I just try to do it all at once so I can get it out of the way and start my holiday. All right. So when I go to do assessment stuff, what I do is go into my email and just search Jonathan's name, because he has already sent us all the documents we need, and I've got them right here. This is 3 different emails. He knows that I teach Comp 1, Comp 2, and Comp 1 with review, so those are 3 separate emails for each of those classes with the documents specific to those classes. So I'm going to open up, let me do, I'll show a Comp 2 portfolio assessment. So this is all that information. He sends us all these documents. So what I like to do is download all of these assessment documents into a folder on my computer here. This is my computer at home. So every semester I have a folder for that semester. Inside that folder, I've got an assessment document folder. I don't have much in there right now because I have not done assessment yet. But I will go ahead and show you, just kind of take you through creating an assessment report for Comp 2 portfolio. So that's the example I'm going to use. So this is what I've downloaded. This is the rubric for Comp 2 portfolio. Actually, Comp 1 and Comp 2 portfolio rubrics are the same. So that's what I've got here. So notice there are 8 rows here. And then there's 4 categories across: master, developing, emerging, and not present. So let's see. I'm going to go to my Comp 2 class because I have not done that rubric yet for the portfolio. All right, so you go to the class that you need to create the rubric for. Go down here to course tools. I've already got this open because I was working on it a minute ago. Go all the way down to rubrics. Click that. It'll give you the option to either create a rubric or import a rubric. I'm going to create a rubric. Okay, I'm going to call this is Comp 2 portfolio assessment rubric. All right. So when I see it, in Blackboard or somewhere, I'll know exactly what class it's for and whether it's for portfolio or final research paper. Okay, what they give you down here is kind of the bare bones of a rubric. It's got 3 rows down, 3 category columns across. So remember, mine, the one that Jonathan sent us, is 8 rows down and 4 category columns across. So what we need to do is make this rubric look just like the one Jonathan sent us in Blackboard. So he sent it to us in Microsoft Word. We need to put it into Blackboard. So this is how we do that. Okay, so these are the buttons right here that say add a row or add column. So I need to add 5 rows to make it 8. And usually you'll have to keep scrolling back up because it bumps you down like that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need 1 more. Then we need 4 category columns across. There's already 3, so I just need to add 1 more. Okay, let's look back over And you'll notice there are these categories down the side that they're criteria. Rhetorical knowledge, critical thinking, academic integrity. These are the learning outcomes for that class. Then also the self-reflection and then overall portfolio. Okay, so what you want to do is just go in and replace what's in Blackboard. So this is rhetorical knowledge. You just copy and paste. So I would paste this right here. You click edit. You just paste it right there. Rhetorical knowledge. There it is. And then do that all the way down with the other 7. So critical thinking, academic integrity, just make it go straight down in that order, the way that this one is. Then we need to go across the top. These words say mastered, developing, emerging, and not present. Those are the categories we need. So then you would go in, can edit. I'm just going to type mastered. And then, all the way across, you'll want to replace these words with that information. Okay. Then, and this is the part that just kind of gets a little tedious, but once you have it done, you don't need to do it again. If you're teaching more than one section of the same class, like I have 2 Comp 2 sections, once I get this rubric created, I can export it and then I can pull it into any other class I need to use it in. So I only need to do this once for each class, which is nice. All right, so what I would do is just go, like here's this block of text. This is mastered rhetorical knowledge, and I'm just going to paste it right here. And you'll just want to do that. Just make sure it is lining up exactly like this rubric. You want it to look exactly like this, but in Blackboard. Okay, you will also want to give some point values over here where it says weight. I usually, for assessment purposes, I'll put in 10% for each of these, because the way my grade breaks down that the students are going to see is I have categories a little different than this. I make these like 10% each, and then whatever's left over, I just put that all in the last one, which is overall. And then these numbers here, I put 100 for mastered. The next one, it's not competent. It is developing, then emerging, and not present. Then I'll put 90 here. You'll see there's already some percentages here, so I just type over what's already there. Proficient would be 80. Not present is a 0. If it's not present, it's not there. So that's how I break those percentages down. There are a couple that are a little bit different where they're either there or they're not, and that is collaborative writing processes and invention techniques. That's where they're supposed to show examples. So I do 100 if they provided 2, and then 90 if they provided just 1. And then I have, let's see, I think 0 and 0 here on these last 2 is what I do. And then the same over there on collaborative writing processes. Okay, so once you get this all filled in, so we're going to pretend I've already done all that. All the percentages are in there. I've copied and pasted all the text, and it looks just like the one Jonathan sent me. You also want to make sure when you get down on this criteria column, just make sure it all adds up to 100, which mine doesn't, but it will. So then you want to hit submit. At least one row. Let me see. It's making me, it doesn't like that I don't have percentages in here. Okay. Oh, I see. It's because these defaults are messing me up here. So again, these are not the real percentages I'm going to put in. I usually do 10 each, 10% each. And then whatever's left over, I just put it in the overall portfolio. Okay, it just wants it to add up to 100. least one cell in the row must equal 100. Okay, I don't know why it's not letting me do this. Okay, so anyway, once you submit it, then it'll live in the space in Blackboard where your rubrics live. So that'll be, here. When you click there, that rubric will show up. So let me go ahead and go over to a class where I've already completed this. It's my other Comp 2 class. Right here. So I'm going to go into Course Tools down here and click on Rubrics. And there's the rubric. I did that earlier today. Once you upload it, once you click Submit, when you're done with it, like I was showing on that other screen, it'll look like this when you go to look at rubrics. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you what this looks like. Now we need to associate it with that assignment. And I've already done it in this class. I'll just show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go to the Grade Center and then Full Grade Center. You want to be able to look at everything here. So I'm going to go way over here to the end because the portfolio is at the end. There it is. All right, so I'm going to, let me see. Oh, okay, you know what? Let me back up. Let me show you what it looks like kind of on this end of it, on the actual assignment. So here's where the assignment is, where the students turn in this. It's the reflection paper for the portfolio. Here it is. I was in the wrong folder. Okay, final portfolio reflection. So I associate the rubric with the reflection because that's just where I grade the whole portfolio. It just makes it a little easier for me. So I'm going to click Edit just so you can see how this rubric is associated. So when you're creating an assignment in Blackboard, scroll down and it gives you the option to add a rubric. So it's already in here. If it's not already in here, you would click Add Rubric, select Rubric, and it will bring up all the rubrics it has for that course. Right now, I've just got this one, but if you had multiple, just make sure it says Final Portfolio Rubric. Down here, you have the option to show the rubric to your students. I click No because, like I said earlier, the way I grade the portfolio is a little different than the rubric we use for assessment. And if they can see that other rubric, they'll be confused. They'll ask me a lot of questions. So I just don't mess with it and I click No so they can't see that. They'll see the grade that I give them and the feedback I give them, but they won't see the assessment part of it. Then this is already filled. Oh yeah, this is just from when I first created this assignment. So I'm going to back out of that. So let me show you what it looks like when you go to grade the portfolios. Let's go back to the Full Grade Center. Actually, let me go to a class where I already did this. Let's go to a class from last spring. We'll go to my Comp 2 class from last spring and look at that. Okay, so then we'll go to the Full Grade Center. So when it's time to grade all of these, and these are already graded because they're from the spring. All right. So this is the right category I want, where it says grade attempts. So this is going to bring them all up. So here's one that a student of mine did. When you click on this box up here where it says attempt, and yeah, this one already has a grade because I've already graded it, but when you first open it, it won't if you haven't graded it yet. You'll see this assessment rubric. This is what it looks like when you're actually grading the assignment. So if you click on that, it brings up all these radio buttons for each category. This is what Blackboard does with that information that's in the rubric. It turns it in to this. This is something I actually like about Blackboard. There's a lot of things I don't like, but I like this, where it makes it super easy to just go down the row and click however well you think this student did on this portfolio. And when you get down to the end, it'll give you a percentage. This came out to be 47.25 out of 50. I went ahead and just made that 48. I felt like the student, the work she did on this warranted a 48. So you don't have to keep the score that shows up on the assessment. If you think your student did a little better or a little worse than that, you can adjust it up here and it'll put whatever grade on it you want it to show. The assessment team, they're not concerned with what the student made on it. They want to see this information here. All right, let's say that I have graded all of these, which I already have. So you get to the last one, you've graded them all. Okay, so you're going to go back to the column for that assignment. For me, it's the final portfolio reflection. And click this arrow here. Now we want to run the rubric evaluation report. That's what that is right here. So I'm going to click that. It brings up this screen. And all of this is the way it needs to be. It needs to be in a PDF because the assessment team will gather all of these as PDFs. The select and end dates are already in there for you, so you don't want to mess with anything on this page. Just go ahead and click submit. Okay, so after this screen comes up, you have these options: save to content collection, download report, or run a new report. I download the report and I save it in that folder that I showed you that's on my laptop, because that's what I'm going to need to send to Jonathan. So this is really important. So pay attention to this, especially after you have the statistics report and you download it. If you go to look at that report right away, it'll be blank. And the first semester I did this, I kept thinking I was doing it wrong because I kept seeing these blank rubric reports. What you have to do is let it sit for quite a while. I would say overnight. So I'll run all these one day, and then the next day I'll go in and look at them, and that's when they'll be populated. They just need a long time to populate all that information. And if you keep checking it, you won't see it. It's like watching boiling water. It won't ever happen as long as you're watching it. So I always come back to it the next day. And then I open them up. I'll just go into this folder. They're not here now, but they will be. And just open those up and see what they look like. I would show you one from last semester, but I have a new computer now and I don't have my old completed rubric reports. But what you would do when you get all of those done is send an email to Jonathan, and he's probably given us specific information on how to send those, or maybe he's going to do that. But you'll just start a new email to Jonathan, and then you'll just go to attach and just attach all of those rubric reports and send them on to him. And then that's it. Pushing that send button on that email is the very last thing I do every semester. So I always look forward to that. Okay, so I just kind of went over it. That's just the portfolio. You do the same thing for the final research paper. And also, don't forget all of those documents Jonathan gives us, because they're, in addition to this video, it tells you how to associate the rubric with an assignment, how to create the rubric evaluation report. That's right here. How you grade with rubrics, which I don't use the rubrics to generate a grade for my student, but you can use that there if you want to. And also just make sure you're using the right documents with the right class. So see, these say Comp 1 with review, and then the Comp 1 and Comp 2 ones are in a separate email. Also, the final research paper for Comp 1 and 2. That's all the documents you need to assess those. Okay, I hope this is helpful. It seems a little tricky once you get going, just because there's a lot of steps, but once you go through it one time, it's pretty easy to remember how to do it. We only do it twice a semester, so every semester I kind of have to open all this stuff up and go over it again and kind of remind myself, and then I don't have any trouble. Okay, that's it. I hope this is helpful.